Hey everyone, welcome to Powered by Education Live's video. We're here today with Amy Valentine from the Foundation of Blended and Online Learning. So welcome, Amy. Tell us a little bit, actually, let's wait just a couple minutes, see if anybody does come in for a little bit, and then I'll turn it over to you and tell us about FBOL. I just need to brag on Amy for a little bit. I have been going back and forth with her about dates and times, and she's been so patient with me through that. So thank you again. I cannot thank you enough. With that, I'll go ahead and say, Amy, tell us a little bit about the foundation and what y'all do over there. We'll go ahead and kick it off.
Okay, great. So the foundation we launched 3 years ago, almost three, I should say, actually 2.5 years ago, with the goal of increasing access that students and teachers have to technology and innovation in the classroom. So we have a great mission on our website. What you won't see on our website is what we ultimately hope to do, and that's transform schools and classrooms and empower parents, students, and teachers to know that there's other options more than the traditional one-size-fits-all approach to education. So the way that we do that as an organization is we story tell on behalf of the end users, of students and teachers, about the impact of technology and innovation in classrooms. So we give scholarships to graduating seniors who've taken a specific number of online or blended classes as part of their coursework. They can come from any type of school, public, the traditional public setting, private schools. We have some homeschool students who've won before, full-time online students. It really doesn't matter the type of school from which students come. What really matters is the impact that blended and online classes have had on them. Mm-hmm. And it's the stories we receive from students are incredible. I mean, just simply incredible. And when I'm done and when I'm facilitating some questions, I'll put in the chat box a shortened video from one of our winners from Texas, who really, she articulates her struggles and challenges really well. And it's a testimony to different ways of learning. So the foundation also, we give grants to teachers who are innovating in the classroom. And we also do research grants that highlight the benefits and advantages of different ways of teaching and learning with technology. But that's more of a social, that's how we impact society as a whole, since it can be, we haven't reached a tipping point where people, citizens in our country, say, yes, online learning is awesome and blended learning is fantastic, because it's still so new and emerging.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're definitely right. It's still a new space that most people don't know about. And it's incredible that y'all are doing the work that you're doing to get the word out and share all those stories. So you said that you have grants for teachers and scholarships for students coming out of high school, correct? So graduating seniors, that's is it for their freshman year of college, or how many years do y'all provide a scholarship for?
The way our scholarship program works right now is we give up to 30 awards of up to $10,000. So with the money that we have right now, and we're actively fundraising and working on increasing that pool of money, because the more money we have, the more money we can give away. We give the 2-year awards for $10,000 are for 4-year university students, because the costs are higher when you're looking at a 4-year university. And we also give awards to community college, vocational tech and trade programs. And those are $5,000 awards. And those are 1 year, because those programs tend to be shorter and less expensive.
Yeah. So do you just give scholarships to students? Do you give scholarships to students all across the country, or is it one state in particular that you give?
All across the country. Yep. And we, as from an organizational perspective, that's really important for us, because we want to make sure that we're telling the story from a national perspective and a national lens. Now, we don't limit the number by state. We don't say, we only give this many per state or this many per region. We definitely only give 1 award per school. But not 2018, but 2017, we had 14 of our 30 winners. They actually came from Arkansas.
Wow.
And so the board said, what's going on in Arkansas? And I said, well, let me find out. So we don't, we've never had a year where one state was represented like that. We had a great contact in the state who distributed our information very widely. So there's a lot of potential for a state to be highlighted if it gets in the hands of teachers and students and they get really jazzed up about it. So I'm putting in the chat box, which hopefully everyone can see, that's some details on our scholarship program. We don't have the map updated there to include 2018 yet. So we've given, as of this year, we will have given 96 awards across 36 states. And last year we had a winner from Tennessee. So I'm always excited when it's local. Local for you, because I'm in Colorado. So local for me is not.
Right. Yeah, that is exciting when it's someone local. So explain to me then the application process. So say I'm a high school senior and I'm wanting to apply for the scholarship. Are there academic requirements? Is there a certain application? Does it open on a certain date? Is there a certain deadline? Things of that nature.
Okay, are you quizzing me to see if I remember all those questions, or do you want me to just?
No, you can address them one at a time, and whichever ones you don't answer, I'll come back and ask.
Okay, good. Okay, so we just finished our third year of scholarship making, and we launched as an organization in February of 2016. So our scholarship program started in March. So we're off cycle for what a traditional scholarship application period looks like. So I'm really excited that this year I'll have confirmation after our board meeting, but I'm really excited that we will likely be opening the portal for the scholarship applications this fall. So sometime October, November, and leaving that window open until January, February. Because for the last 3 years, we've notified students that in July, but the awards are so big, and people say that they're like, wow, $10,000, that's a substantial award. That can make the difference of where a student goes to school. So we want to make sure that students can use that money to determine where they want to go to school. So the window will be open earlier this year and longer. So it should be open no later than November 1st, but I'm hoping the middle of October. Anyone who wants more information, you are welcome to email me. Emailing me is great, but joining our distribution list is even better, because then you'll get real-time updates on scholarship program, on maybe some secondary scholarships that open up. We send that out through our mailing list. So at the bottom of that page of the link I just posted, it says join our mailing list. We don't send out a ton of information, so you won't be overwhelmed with emails from us. So I would encourage you to register there so that you get the information. And then going back to the other questions that I overlooked but did not forget. The criteria for the scholarship program is students have to be they have to be high school graduates from an accredited program or from a homeschool program. So they have to be going on to an accredited post-secondary program, all within the United States. They have students, and I should preface this by saying the foundation, we don't determine who the winners are. We actually use a scholarship management company, one of the largest in the country, because they have very skilled people that evaluate the applications, and it takes us out of it. It really is that having that third party this is a brand new type of world for them. The first meeting we had was me defining for them what online and blended courses were, because our main criteria is students had to have taken a minimum of 5 online or blended courses. Well, the scholarship company had never had a program that gave awards based upon innovative pioneers. Mm-hmm. So we worked really closely with them. And again, on our website, there's a little more information. Evaluation criteria is based on a numeric ranking that includes academic performance, but academic performance is only 20%, because we know that if students struggle in the traditional school setting, that oftentimes it's when they change and find an online program or a blended program or a competency-based program or a homeschool environment, that is the turning point for them to increase their grades. So we didn't want to penalize students for having struggled in the traditional setting. So academic performance, 20%, letters of recommendation, 20%. The breadth and depth of online and blended courses that the student has taken is 40%. And then extracurricular activities are 20% of the application. So it's very balanced, and it allows a student who has struggled academically the opportunity to apply for a scholarship and be rewarded for being, innovative in their approach and really taking a chance with something different.
That's awesome. So how competitive is it to get the scholarship? Like, how many people do y'all typically have apply in this school year? And does that, I just lost my train of question. Is that something that's super competitive that you'll have a lot of people apply for, that it's better if I get my application in early? Still saying I'm a high school senior. Does that question make sense?
It does make sense. Yep. So I'll put it in here just so people can see too. The first 2 years, we had approximately 375 applications submitted for 30 awards. So it was, around say an 8 to 10% chance, which was very high. So as we've grown this year, we had just under 800 apps that were submitted, which, doubled the number, which did make it more competitive. But that being said, whether it's apply, it doesn't matter when you apply, because all of the applications are looked at equally at the end. They wait until the end. What was interesting this year is we had 800 applications submitted, but we had another 1,400 that were started but not finished. So one thing I would encourage parents and students is to finish it. It's worth it. The portal that Scholarship America has set up, it's not so overwhelming that, it's a lot easier than applying even for your FAFSA, or in some cases filing your taxes. So we haven't made it an arduous process, but the essay that the student writes, that oftentimes is a very compelling piece of their application, because that's where they tell the story. So the more specific that students can be about how it changed their life, how it impacted them, why they switched from the traditional learning environment, if they were in a traditional brick and mortar school, that's really important. So with the increase in competition, this year we saw student stories, which are with much more specific detail. So I'm going to put in here for people to watch after. This is the story, the video from one of our scholarship winners in Texas. I always encourage our applicants to be as specific as possible within what they're comfortable. We've had students say, in particular, Elizabeth said, I was born with fetal alcohol syndrome and I had a cleft palate. And because of that, people thought that I was slow.
Wow.
And we have students saying, I am a military family and I would have not had consistency in my education had it not been for this. Or I had epilepsy and I was limited in how much school I could go to without risking my, health and wellness. So I encourage students to be specific without feeling like they need to disclose too much. But some students, they really want people to know. I mean, the reason why we have this video from Elizabeth, and I talked to her at length before we published it on Facebook, was to say, are you comfortable sharing this? And she said, absolutely. If I can help one person not drop out, like I almost dropped out, but then I found online school, I want to help them.
Isn't that just the beauty of choosing the option that you get to go to, is that you can pick what education environment works best for your needs and works best for you, so that you can continue on and graduate and go on to bigger and better things. That's incredible. You talked a little bit about the essay portion of the application. And I want to ask, is there anything else in the application process that a high school student would need to know about? Like, is it just a standard date, like name, birthday, where you went to school, and then the essay? Are there other components of the application process that a high school student should be aware of or need or know about?
Yeah, there's definitely the standard online piece where it's personal information and it's very, you input information and details. And then the components that they have to submit their transcript. So they'll want to work with their school to submit their transcript. For homeschool students, parents will create the transcript. Oftentimes parents have a transcript anyways, and they teach the child and the student how to track the courses that they take. So what I would say is if you're a homeschool family and you see that transcript question, this scholarship management company, they just want to see the classes that the student took. So don't feel like that you have to have a transcript from your local school. Although if you have one, that's great. The letters of recommendation, verifying the classes that the student took, and the essay. So those are the components that are, need to be submitted as well. and there'll be a longer window this year for that. And on I put our Twitter site, we're really driving people to check out our Twitter site. We're sharing student stories. The winners are required to turn in an acceptance video, not so that we can, share the accolades that they give us, but really we want to put context to their story. So if students and parents want to see what the winners look like and what they sound like and what their stories are, you're welcome. We would encourage you to visit our Twitter site and or our website, and you can see that. But they are as different as snowflakes. I mean, each of their stories is very different.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I think we have a couple of questions from a couple of people watching. The first one is, how many online classes do they have to take in order to qualify for the scholarship?
Okay, and just one question for you really quick, Jessica. I've been typing in the team chat. I don't think that everyone can see what I type. Is that just for the internal team here?
I think it is, but we've been putting them in comments on the actual live feed.
Okay,
so they should be getting. Yeah, okay. We're translate. I have someone doing tech for me, and he's been furiously typing. I can hear the clicks.
Just in case I type anything in here, I want to make sure that people can see it. So the students have to have taken a minimum of 5 online or blended classes. So the minimum is 5 online or blended classes.
Okay, and our next question comes from Mitchell, and he asked, is the scholarship merit-based or need-based? Who or what determines who gets awarded a scholarship? Which you touched on the third party a little bit earlier. Maybe touch on that a little bit more again.
Sure. So, and I will put this in there, and this is on our website so that people can have access to it. It's merit-based. Was the question or need-based?
Yes.
Okay. So at this time, our scholarships are not need-based. We do not collect any financial information from families. It's a different level of complexity when you do that. And also, we're honoring and recognizing students for being digital pioneers. And sometimes they need that, more often than not, they need that financial support, right? Another thing too, so people know, our scholarship program, the checks are written to the school, and they are only for tuition, books, and fees. They're not for living expenses, or they don't go into an overage account for the student, because we really want to drive that post-secondary financial support for coursework. So inherent in that, it's not, it's funding the tuition, makes it very much a need-based. Any overage comes back to the foundation, and it allows us to give other students scholarships. But with the expenses associated with college, we usually don't get overage checks back, because college is expensive. So it's merit-based, with academic merit being 20% of that. Whereas it's merit-based of being a digital pioneer is the bigger weight of that. And then the second part was who reviews it. It's our scholarship management company, and it's Scholarship America. They're great partners. They have teams of evaluators that review. They tell us who the winners are based upon that numeric ranking. And also they take into consideration, we have some parameters such as 1 award per school. And we encourage Scholarship America to make sure that their awards reflect where the applications are coming from. So if we only have 10 applications from the Pacific Northwest, we might only give 1 award there. Whereas if we have 300 from the South, we'll give 10. So we do look at the geographic makeup to make sure that we're spreading it out. Now, last year with Arkansas, we couldn't do anything about that. The Arkansas students, we had to forego that criteria, because the Arkansas students, they rose to the top. They also comprised 32% of the applicant pool. So we do take those things into account as well.
That makes sense, and it's a great way of making sure that everything's pretty fair as far as allocation goes. I think we have another question from Jennifer, and it's online options for college students are celebrated. There's so much criticism of online learning for K through 12. Why do you think there's the negativity and scrutiny for the K through 12 education?
Okay, so do we have 4 hours and lunch delivered? And and bandwidth for about 100 more people to come.
Right.
You know, in a nutshell, and I have a lot of feelings about this, so I would love to schedule another Facebook Live to delve more deeply into it. It's so new. I mean, our education system as it has existed in the same way up until this disruptive, and I use disruptive in a positive way, online education. And online learning came before blended learning. So it was, you know, traditional brick and mortar environment and then full-time online. It was very difficult for people to wrap their heads around, thought leaders, legislators, parents. And because it's so new and different, people fill in the gaps of their knowledge with what they think it is. And that's why there's misnomers like the computer replaces the teacher. There's robots teaching teaching the children. Children aren't socialized. Children are socially, you know, they're socially isolated. I've taught in an online setting. I've run online and blended schools. You form some of the most incredible relationships with parents and students that you never thought you could. So, you know, when kindergarten emerged in the 1940s, it took parents 40 years to feel comfortable that their child should and could possibly be mandated to go to school at the age of 5 or 6. So how can we expect that online learning would be socially acceptable and socially accepted at a different rate? So I'm not justifying that it's scrutinized. If people just look at the test scores, they will think it's a bad option for kids. But the test scores reflect a measurement system of the brick and mortar environment. So, and you know, and I could go on and on and on, but I think we had 12 or 13 winners from full-time online schools this year in our cohort. They come from, you know, management companies that manage those schools. They come from state-run providers. They come from small districts that have launched their own online program. And you hear these stories from these students. Elizabeth, the student who I sent you her video, she graduated from a full-time online school. She tried in the brick and mortar. It was not a good fit for her. So why should we limit and dictate what is a good fit for a child when we have so many options socially with what we can pick and choose? But there's education's on an island. It's different. Like everything can be customized and everything can be individualized except education, because we're just not really sure. So,
right.
So I'll stop there.
Yeah.
Question as a follow-up to that, and I would love to delve more into that because I think about it and talk about it all the time.
Yeah, we will definitely have to plan another day where you come back and we just talk straight about that, because it's the whole reason why we exist is to make sure parents know that there are other options that might fit their kid better. And who are we to say that their zip code school is the best school for them? Mm-hmm. So I think there are a couple more questions, and I want to talk about the teacher side of FBOL. So our next question is, have you had homeschool winners? So I guess that's 100% homeschool, or do they have to be a mixture of the two?
I don't know. I mean, we definitely have had homeschool winners. As far as a mix, like, were they enrolled in their local school of residence or not? I don't know because I don't see their transcripts. But if you check our website out, and I'll put the link in for this year, we have students, and they'll share this through their stories as well. This year we had 2 or 3 homeschool students. 2 or 3 we've had. And yes, let me see, I have it right here. This year we've had 1 homeschool student. Last year we had 1 or 2. So there's a chart on the website that shows the number of homeschool students that have won. And if anybody, we haven't published her story yet, but her story will be coming. Her name is Chelsea Bakunis, and she comes from Oregon.
Oh, that's awesome. I think by in a blend, I meant like some homeschoolers do like they go to a campus a couple days a week, you know, things like that. Or I guess that blended component. I think.
And they could. I don't see their transcript, and sometimes they don't share that much in theirs. Sure. But they would certainly be eligible if a homeschool family student goes to a co-op or attends. You know, they take online classes you can be a homeschool family and your child takes classes at the community college online or blended, and you would completely qualify for it. It's not that you've had to take in high school classes online or blended. They can be post-secondary.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Mhm.
That's great. Our next question, it comes from Mitchell. He asks, you might have said this earlier, but how many scholarships does FBOL give out every year?
In general, we give 30 awards of up to $10,000 each annually. This year, we gave away 35 because it was so competitive and it was very difficult for the scholarship company to make those final determinations. So we did give out 5 additional awards.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. Now I know you have we just have a little bit of time left, but I want to go over the teacher side of this. So you said you gave grants to teachers. Do they have to use it for specific things? Are they teachers in specific schools? We'll go. Well, I'll finish my question, my questions there, and then I'll
Now
follow
I pay
up.
more attention when you ask questions. Our teacher grant program is designed to give financial support, grants of up to $10,000 to educators. So not just teachers, but counselors, assistant principals who have a blended pilot in mind that they know will meet the needs of their students, but they don't have funding or resources. So we give awards to teachers throughout the country in any type of school. Teachers in online schools, blended schools, brick and mortar schools are all welcome to apply. To date, up until this year, we're just about to announce our 2018 winners. We give anywhere between 5 to 10 awards out, and up through this year, our awards they've gone to brick and mortar teachers, and we do accept applications from all types of teachers. But the brick and mortar teachers who have limited resources and options, who want to infuse technology in the classroom, they have the most compelling proposals. So up until this point, that's who we've given awards to. And on our website, we have many stories of those teachers.
I see. So, my follow up to that is, so you get a bunch of teacher applications for these grants. Is there a certain deadline that you have, or have you opened them for the 2019 year yet, or will you open those around the same time as the scholarships for students?
Are you trying to give me a heart attack?
No, I'm just curious.
I'm just kidding because so we are a very small organization, which is one of the reasons why for us, increasing the support that we have allows us to do more and give more. So at any given time, our programs are running in tandem with each other. And so one of the things that I'm trying to do is to have them be a little bit more separate. So presumably our scholarship program for 2019 will open in the fall. And then our teacher grant app portal will open in January and then close, say, in March. So we for the last 3 years, it's been in the spring, but we want to move that up because teachers have more time in the winter, presumably more time. And it allows us to get them the checks much before school starts. One of the challenges of the teacher grant program, every year for the last 2 years, we had one of our 7 winners that it took the administrator or the district up to 4 months to cash the check.
Wow.
You make those resources available, and then in some cases it's me working with the district to make sure that they understand that this is credible money, that this, that the check needs to be cashed to get these computers. And, people are busy, people triage what's most important, but we definitely don't want that time lapse to impact the teacher's ability to buy the technology for the classroom. So has to be a blended pilot. It will fund technology, assistive technology software, but it has to have that support. It can't just be, if it's a proposal for MacBooks without a strong implementation plan, then unfortunately it won't make the final cut.
And so are their applications similar to the student applications where there's that online, you fill out your standard questions and then do they have to write an essay about what they need and what they'll use it for? Or do they just have short answer questions that they have to fill out?
Yeah, there's the standard application pieces. They have to verify that they're a certified educator. And then at the end, it asks for their budget. It asks for the blended pilot overview and then also metrics, how they plan to measure it. But it's relatively short. I mean, it's limited to 500 characters or 500 words so that they can really hone in on what their plans are.
Okay, got it. Well, that's fantastic. Is there anything that I haven't covered that you want to tell parents about the educator portion or the student portion right before we wrap up?
No, I think that covers it. I mean, you can find out a ton on our website. You can see stories so I would encourage people to check out our website. If you're interested in the scholarship program or the grant program, put your name on our distribution list. That's where we send the press release. That's where we send reminders. If you have individual questions or you want to connect with me, I always love talking to parents and students. So there's my email address and my phone number because I love to talk on the phone. And so you are welcome to reach out to me. Also, we encourage you to follow us on Twitter. And then one more thing, tomorrow I will be facilitating a Twitter chat with a national leader and author. Her name's Joy Kerr. She writes she wrote a book called Shift This, and it's all about shifting the education system. So that'll be at 7 p.m. Central Time. And it's just going to be dialogue between teachers and parents and thought leaders around what can we do within the confines of our role to help shift the education system, however small or large it is. So you're welcome to join that if you are somebody who likes the Twitter and wants to connect with a larger audience of people. Oh, I can't hear you.
Sorry, technical difficulties. I was saying Twitter kind of scares me a little bit, but it perfectly segues into our last question here about if we could get a weekly segment featuring Amy Valentine, and I'm for it.
I would love to.
Great. Well, I'll get my scheduling, down pat and, work on that. And then we will definitely keep scheduling this because this has been so informative. And there's so many different things that we could talk about with online and blended learning and so many different facets.
And I think one thing that would be fascinating to consider is, I'm sure you get all kinds of questions from parents, is to put those into buckets. And I will gladly, even if it's not something that I've presented on before, I'm an academic by heart and by, virtue. So I will get the information lined up so that the pervasive common questions and the areas of interest, I will present on that because it's all about the parents. It's all about parents feeling empowered. It's all about supporting the needs of our students. I would love to do a session on learning styles and learning difficulties and challenges and struggles, because that's something as a mom that I've had to figure out how to navigate. That having been in education for 20 years, it didn't matter. None of that mattered, because as a parent, when you have to support your child who's struggling and there's an underlying reason, it's a completely different situation. So I definitely can relate to the triumphs and the challenges. So I would love to, meet the needs of parents through these kinds of forums.
Oh, that's so exciting. And so I'm so ready I'm going to sit down at my computer right after this and start sending you emails. Thank you so much, Amy. And if y'all need any more information about the Foundation of Blended and Online Learning, we'll be posting stuff in the comments below. And again, thank you, Amy. This has been amazing. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good day.